Welcome to Stock Markets with KR, weekly analysis in collaboration with the Financial Pandora. And here I have with me Anosh Modi, who'll start with Nifty. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, great to be here with KR as always. Looking at the Nifty daily chart, we see Nifty had started the week on a very strong note. However, the last 2 days were rather bearish, the last two candles that we see, and Nifty is looking a little toppish at this level, and a retest of this purple zone at the bottom is not entirely unlikely, as we'll now see on the hourly chart and our outlook for Nifty. So this is the Nifty hourly chart. As we can very clearly see, it is range bound, and that is exactly our outlook for Nifty at this time. A breakdown below 15,650 opens up the possibility of 15,475 and 15,300 towards the downside, and we see fresh strength on the Nifty above 15,900. Coming to Bank Nifty, which is the highest weighted stocks in the Nifty, also a range bound index at this point of time. Our outlook remains range bound to slightly bearish. The possibility of a retest of 34,000, which is this thick purple belt. We've been talking about this level for quite a while now, since even before this breakout. We believe that retest is not entirely unlikely at this point. Fresh strength again above 35,800. Let's look at Bank Nifty relative strength. It is forming a sort of a head and shoulders pattern. That's not a very positive sign. It indicates that we might see some underperformance by Bank Nifty. This would be negated above this purple band over here. So we're really just watching this ratio, seeing how it pans out, whether it touches this level or really just negates it higher. We don't really know, but this formation is definitely interesting to keep an eye on. Here's what the broad market looks like year to date. Small caps have clearly been the winners. Mid caps have been the second best performers, and Nifty 500 has been the third best. All of these have done a lot better than the Nifty. That's been clear outperformance, as we'll see on the relative strength chart. These show us how each of these indices has outperformed the Nifty respectively. And this trend does not look like it's tiring anytime soon. It's a strong uptrend. And even when Nifty goes sideways to downwards, these indices hold much outperformance. India VIX, which is plotted on the long-term regression channel, is testing the -1 standard deviation level. This means that overall uncertainty and volatility in the market is testing its absolute low points. However, we should remember that a sudden burst in volatility is very likely here. This would affect option and futures and option players significantly more than medium to long-term cash-based investors. So that is something we'd like to point out, that these low levels of VIX, they may continue to rest at this level, but any sort of uncertainty or extraneous factors can lead to a sudden spike in volatility from these low levels. I invite now KR to talk about the stocks heavyweights in the Nifty, and we'll start with Reliance.
Thanks for that quick run through, Anosh. Now, Reliance, we can see 2080 levels have been rejected. So now, as I said, even in my previous video, I'm expecting, or rather, I feel that 2050-ish levels can't be ruled out. We've got the 200 MA right there, around 2040 as well. So that is where my eyes would personally be set at. RSI is at 40, but then still, I can't see that strength happening with Reliance. HDFC Bank, now we can see 1529 levels have been rejected. 2 days ago, the candle was a spinning top. Then we saw yet another spinning top, and now we're seeing a rather bearish candle. So we're seeing some selling pressure happening in HDFC Bank, which is obviously not a very good sign. It is testing RSI 50, which is where the bullish bias typically is. So if 1500 levels are rejected, I'm expecting 1480 to 1460 to be retested. Now coming to Infosys, we can see that 1559, 1560 line that's there. On a closing basis, I wanted to do this homework. I wanted to go look at your chart, load it up, and check the line chart of Infosys. You'll see how clean this is. Basically, if this is held, if this 1560 line is held, I think Infosys can show some good moves. Below this, below 1550 or so is when I think a deeper profit booking or some sort of long unwinding might take. Now coming to HDFC, it's obviously broken 2500, but we can see some gap support happening. So I think above 2500, it still stands a chance, but it's been consolidating for like 6 months almost at this point, which is clearly not a very good sign. So let's see, possibly more decisive strength about 2600, 2620, which is still a while away. So now we've got ICICI Bank. We can see 633 level has been held. We can see a pretty good candle on Friday with sufficient amount of buying happening at lower levels. So I think as long as that level is held, we could see some bullishness, possibly a retest of the previous resistance, I believe at around 650 or so. If that's obviously been able to be cleared, then 665, which is the next level, would be where my eyes are set at. But naturally, right now we're seeing Bank Nifty in general being a little bit of a fix. So let's see how it goes. Fridays were actually dragged by financials. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. Kotak Bank, a stock that's, yet again, just like HDFC, been underperforming for the past almost 6 months, I'd say, or at least moving sideways without any proper trend, unlike many of the other stocks. Now, we can see it's around 1720. I think that 1700 can't be ruled out if we don't see buyers stepping in at this very region. So let's see how it goes. 23.6 fib levels have been rejected. Next stock is SBI. SBI, we can see 420 levels have been held. We're seeing Friday closing on a spinning top, which is possibly a good sign because it shows that, hey, lower levels are also being rejected, but there is still some uncertainty remaining in the market. And the last time we saw a doji or a spinning top at this level, we saw some sort of an up move. So I'm still waiting to see. Volumes are still fairly low. So let's see how it goes. Finally, coming to Axis Bank, we can see it's at the 50 daily moving average, which is an important level. I think around that zone is where it might test whether it wants to continue the bullish bias that it has, or whether it wants to correct a little further. So let's see how it goes. RSI 50 right now, so currently bullish bias is still there, but let's see how it goes. Actually, it's still in that range bound section. Thanks for that, Anosh. I might just make a video on the sentiments of the market because things look very interesting. But yeah, thanks a lot for your quick rundown of Nifty and the broad market indices, and I hope to see you next week.
Thanks, Kunal. Always a pleasure being here, and see you next week.